So, um, I can't believe this right now because it's finally happening. It's finally happening. About an hour ago, it came through on my Twitter feed. CNN writes, Harvard and Yale scientists are proposing that we tackle climate change by dimming the sun. It sounds crazy, but according to their research, it could actually cut the rate of global warming in half. Oh my God, they're talking about chemtrails. They're talking about, stratospheric aerosol injections. But they're just, hey, why don't we try this? It'll help global warming. Guys, we have been talking about this for years, almost decades. And they're finally having to admit hello. So obviously this is CNN, so I have not read the article. I just saw that they had the article up. This is The Guardian. Spreading particles in the stratosphere to fight climate change may cost $2 billion a year. Cooling the Earth by injecting sun-blocking particles into the stratosphere could be remarkably inexpensive, according to the most detailed engineering analysis to date. The fear of a rogue nation or military force unilaterally taking control of the global climate is unfounded. The researchers added, as the many thousands of high-altitude flights needed to affect global temperatures could not escape detection. The new research estimated the technology costs of putting millions of tons of sulfate particles into the atmosphere. This form of geoengineering mimics major volcanic eruptions, which has significantly reduced global temperatures in the past. We show that a hypothetical deployment program, while both highly uncertain and ambitious, would be technically possible. Gernot Wagner from Harvard University. It would also be remarkably inexpensive at an average of around $2 billion to $2.5 billion per year. About $500 billion a year is currently invested in green technologies. So, you have oil that is gone down in the past couple weeks to like pretty low because of the oversupply. If they manage to make it to where say $2 billion a year doesn't justify $500 billion in green technologies, windmills, hydrogen, and the electric vehicles. The R&D alone probably costs more than $2 billion. So when you take that into consideration, we're talking about investors, right? Major investors are going to look at this and go, should we really be invested in green technologies? Because right now, the green technologies have almost surpassed oil. I think the green technologies is like $4 trillion, and oil is at like 7, something like that. So when you look at this as a geopolitical move, which it's interesting, or at least it's always interesting, how CNN is at the forefront of these kinds of announcements, if you will. So if you have ever been, and what I'm going to do here is let's go to weather modification history.com. If you're one of those people that just don't know, this is where you start. Okay? First of all, I want you to start at, just go all timeline. Actually, go to timeline and then start at the very beginning at the 1800s with this guy, James Pollard Espy, the Storm King. And I'm going to go ahead and show this to you just so you get an idea of what geoengineering really is. Because as soon as I tell you this, it's going to blow your mind. Especially with the recent fires in California. James Pollard Espy, or the Storm King, May 9th, 1785 to January 24th, 1860, was a U.S. meteorologist who proposed burning forests on the west coast of the United States of America to increase rainfall on the east coast. Espy developed a convection theory of storms, explaining it in 1836 before the American philosophical, so weird word, philosophical, wow, I don't know why I said it that way, it just looks weird, society, and in 1840 before the French Académie des Sciences and the British Royal Society. His theory was published in 1840 as the Philosophy of Storms. So right there alone tells you, forest fires on the east coast or on the west coast produces rain, and this particular time snow, because of the cold weather, which we had a cold snap on the east coast anyways, so that would have generated the snow necessary from that particular storm. And that's just the beginning. There's 200 years of weather modification history with the US, Germany, Russia, all of it, all the way back, NASA, JFK, on and on and on. If you've never been to this website, I highly recommend that you go and you check it out and go through these. This will literally explain most all. There's new ones every single day, declassified documents, all of it, from the CIA to Henry Kissinger and beyond. So you have weather modification has been going on for 200 years. Okay. Scientists know what's going on. Okay. There are certain things that they're allowed to say, certain things that they're not allowed to say. But the fact of the matter is, the government, as well as the three-letter agencies, decide whether or not they want to allow for the public or for it to be public knowledge. Okay? You don't go around disseminating information, especially through the mainstream media, about these kinds of things unless those in the know, top of the pyramid people, want us to know. So there's a CNN article, and then you have this article here, and if I go back, so this is the moment or whatever. It says, LOL, we will fight the sun before we take on capitalism, which, come on, seriously. It says, this movie sounds terrible. This is the plot of Highlander 2, The Quickening. This is how humans end up moving closer to the Earth's core in founding Zion. Have none of you seen The Matrix? We do know it was us that scorched the sky, Morpheus. Next up, we're all converted to copper tops for the imminent AI revolution. No, CNN. The paper says nothing of the sort. Amazingly, with all the media coverage this paper is getting, only one journalist actually picked up the phone and called. Thanks. So this is a paper. Let's see what it says. It's broken. Too many fucking people are trying to read it. I'll include it in the links, but I'm not going to read it. Solar geoengineering can be remarkably inexpensive. Solar geoengineering would spread sun-blocking particles into the stratosphere to cool the Earth, and researchers have found it could be remarkably inexpensive, but others argue it could weaken efforts to tackle the cause of emissions or cause droughts. Now, that is one thing that you have to keep in mind, is that with this type of geoengineering, it can cause overseeding of the clouds, and rain droplets cannot condensate around the particle and fall out of the sky. So to survive as a species, we could convert to proven sources of renewable energy, recommit to international climate treaties, gradually reduce CO2 emissions, spray untested chemicals in the atmosphere to block the sun, continue forever. First of all, to say untested after doing it since 1947, I would say we're good to go on that. So the study specifically says we make no judgment about the desirability. It's an examination of the cost and technical feasibility, not a proposal, even though it should be a proposal, because you have tons of government agencies, you have independent companies who are already doing this. There is, even in my neck of the woods, I'm in California, so obviously that we can afford it, but SMUD, I think it was in like 2016, the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, or PG&E, I can't remember which one, but they offered $1 million contract for snowpack augmentation for the Sierras, which I don't know if you guys remember, but when Donald Trump was elected that year, we had a shit ton of snow, and I'm talking 71 feet on the mountain. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Alexa, dim the sun. In all seriousness, small-scale geoengineering will probably be a part of mitigating climate change, but any large-scale geoengineering will be as disruptive and destructive as climate change. The only path forward is decarbonization. So, first of all, I want to say one thing. This guy is a dumbass. All these people out there promoting decarbonization has one thing in mind, or first of all, they either don't understand that climate change happens because of the sun, and for two, there has been no evidence that the amount of carbon dioxide that is emitted into our atmosphere in the past 100 years has affected climate at all. Third, CO2 levels, when they increase, the plants on the earth thrive because of the percentage goes up and it turns greener. There's a paper submitted by NASA that says this specifically, but all these dumbasses who are either getting paid or whatever want to tax me and everybody else for our emissions. And we don't get to emit unless we pay them. Sorry, nobody's going to be down for that unless we literally become a really stupid public, which you have literally every single... I can go on my phone and go, okay, Google, and it fucking tells me whatever I want. Okay? There's no reason that we should be this dumb. If you're not willing to nuke a few volcanoes to dim the planet, can you really say you're all in on cooling the planet? See, this guy knows what's up. Going out for dim sun? Who's joining me? Man, that was a weak ass pun. But anyways, so this is interesting. And it's interesting solely for the reason that I think they're finally going to open the doors to this. And I think a lot of the investments into green energy are going to go on the wayside, especially since you have now oil prices are highly competitive. Okay, $55 a barrel, and I think it's down even further today. It's like at $50 or something. I just went to a gas station, and this is in California, so obviously it's going to be expensive because we have high taxes on our oil. It's like $3. That's stupid low. Stupid low. I haven't seen it that low since Barack Obama's first term. So, I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys got something out of the video. Please go check out weathermodificationhistory.com. It is your #1 guide to the future of geoengineering, because this stuff is not going away. They're only going to do more and more of it, and it's unfortunate. But you have people like Jim Lee, and you have people like Dane Wigington. Even though I don't like dropping his name, there's a lot of other people in the community who know what's going on, who claim to know what's going on, and We've known about this for a long time. Geoengineering has been going on for a long time, and hopefully there's another way, but right now it looks like Pandora's box is open. So hope you guys got something out of the video. See you next time. I just did it again. Gosh dang it.